British Prime Minister receives backlash for making more tough decisions. 10-year-old boy rescued from well after 104 hours, and 5 areas in Sarawak were declared as FMD areas. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he continued to make tough decisions in relation to a policy that would see asylum seekers sent to Rwanda. The government had been forced to fight a series of legal challenges in London courts and believed it was ready to deport a handful of migrants on a charter plane to Rwanda before the European Court of Human Rights, or ECHO, stepped in. This has prompted a substantial backlash from the opposition.
Prime Minister who sounds totally deluded, totally failing the economy, failing to tackle inflation, failing to back business, failing to help working people through the crisis. And, Mr. Speaker, his big idea, go back to imperial measurements. He's got 80s inflation, 70s stagnation, now he wants 60s weights to complete the set. When is he going to ditch the gimmicks and face up to reality?
They're blatantly on the side of the RMT union barons. When there are some ticket offices that barely sell 1 ticket per hour, Mr. Speaker, we are on the side of the travelling public. By the way, he hasn't mentioned this, but they're on the side of the people traffickers who would risk people's lives at sea, Mr. Speaker. And we are on the side of people who come here safely and legally. Safely and legally, Mr. Speaker.
The parliament was filled with back and forth between the two sides, to a point where former Prime Minister Theresa May inquired of Johnson on the case of Dom Phillips, a British journalist who went missing in Brazil.
FCDO officials are working closely now with the Brazilian authorities following his disappearance on the 5th of June. The minister responsible has raised the issue repeatedly.
Earlier, Johnson said Britain would not be deterred, and the immigrant issue has raised demands from Conservative lawmakers for Britain to pull out of the European Convention on Human Rights altogether. Rescuers in central India managed to pull a 10-year-old boy out of a well on Wednesday, June 15th, after being stuck for over 100 hours. The boy with hearing and speech impairments, and identified as Rahul Sahu, had fallen into a 24-meter deep well in Perit village on Friday, June 10th. Personnel from the National Disaster Response Force, State Disaster Response Force, District Administration and the Army were called in to rescue the child. The operation lasted for more than 4 days, during which the child was provided oxygen through a pipeline. Upon rescue, the child was welcomed with cheers and applauses from the rescue officials and others gathered at the site.
पूरा ऑपरेशन बहुत चैलेंजिंग था, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है, बट सबका जॉइंट एफर्ट था, सबके एक्सपर्ट्स राय, सब चीज़ों को कंसिडरेशन करते हुए जिस तरीके से ऑपरेशन हुआ, आई थिंक फाइनली सक्सेस मिली और बच्चा सही सलामत निकला.
He was then taken to the hospital for further treatment. In recent years, incidents of children falling into open bore wells have been reported frequently in India. 5 divisions in Sarawak have been declared as foot and mouth disease, or FMD, control areas following the active outbreaks of the disease in neighbouring Kalimantan. Minister of Modernisation of Agriculture and Regional Development, Datuk Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Utom, said the 5 divisions are Kuching, Serian, Seri Aman, Miri and Limbang. Rundi said the declaration was made in order for the Department of Veterinary Services Sarawak, or DVS, to impose and take all the necessary control measures to prevent the introduction of FMD in Sarawak. This includes the import ban on livestock and livestock products from Indonesia, monitoring and surveillance of livestock in high-risk areas, and conducting veterinary inspections at entry points into Sarawak. Active outbreaks of the disease are occurring in cattle, buffalo, goat, and sheep populations in Indonesia. FMD is an acute and highly contagious viral infection of both domestic and wild cloven-hoofed animals, and these include cattle, buffalo, domesticated deer, goats, sheep, pigs, as well as wild boar and deer. The disease spreads from animal to animal via aerosols, nasal discharges, and also from contaminated feeds, beddings, and other vomits. However, it is not zoonotic and therefore not a public health concern and distinct from hand, foot, and mouth disease HFMD affecting children. Dr. Rundi said Sarawak is recognized as an FMD-free zone without vaccination by the World Organization for Animal Health since May 2004. Now, license registration is important to allow the government to identify traders for aid distribution. According to Minister of International Trade, Industry and Investment Sarawak, Datuk AMAR AWANG HASAN, various types of assistance were created when the pandemic hit, not only for the public, but also for traders. In fact, the government has always ensured that no party misses out on enjoying the assistance provided.
However, Awang Tengah, who is also the Deputy Premier of Sarawak, said one of the main challenges faced by the government is the difficulty in identifying traders, especially those who do not have a license.
Yang tidak beregistrasi, walaupun kita mau bantu, tapi bagaimana kita nak identify? So that is one of the problem. Kita tidak dapat menyalurkan. Dalam kita berdepan pandemik COVID-19, kerajaan negeri telah pun memberi banyak bantuan-bantuan.
Therefore, the ministry urged all traders to register their businesses in an effort to help the government in assistance distribution. As such, Awang Tengah also urged traders to make use of the opportunities and benefits from the assistance schemes created.
Kita sekarang ini aktiviti ekonomi sudah dibuka dan inilah peluang. Mana-mana pakej bantuan yang belum kita dapat, yang kita tak tahu, kita tanyalah kawan-kawan.
He spoke while attending the Jom Register Business Program on Tuesday at the Malay Union Club MUC of Kampong Nyabor, which was attended by 200 participants. For the record, among the assistance provided under the Sarawak Kusayang Special Assistance or BKSS are the Special Relief Fund SRF, Targeted Relief and Recovery Fund TRRF, Penjana Tourism Facility PTF, and Sarawak Micro Credit Scheme SKMS. Apart from that, the Small and Medium Industry Loan Scheme SPIKS, Graduates to Entrepreneurs Program or GERA, and the Technical and Vocational Entrepreneurship USTEV were also provided. He added that the Sarawak government will continue to be committed to assisting small and medium entrepreneurs as they are among the contributors to the sustainability of the local economy.
This year's Sarawak Day celebration will be held in physical form at the Cebu Indoor Stadium here on July 22nd, after 2 years of a hybrid format during the COVID-19 pandemic. The matter was confirmed by the Minister of Women, Children and Community Wellbeing Development, Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah.
Detik bersejarah ini harus diingat oleh seluruh lapisan masyarakat di Sarawak, terutamanya generasi muda masa sekarang. Kerana pada tarikh tersebut, Sarawak berkerajaan sendiri, self-rule on that day. Untuk tempoh kira-kira 2 bulan sebelum membentuk Persekutuan Malaysia bersama Sabah, iaitu Borneo Utara, dikenali sebagai Borneo Utara pada masa tersebut, dan Persekutuan Tanah Melayu. Bertitik tolak daripada tarikh tersebut, Sarawak membina persefahaman dan pemuafakatan antara masyarakat terbilang kaumnya dalam membentuk berbilang kaum dalam membentuk sebuah negeri yang bersatu padu dan harmoni.
She called on the public to fly the state flag at their respective premises in gratitude and celebration. The program for July 22nd includes a 30-minute Rosli Dobi Music Theatre performance, a special song for Sarawak Day 2022, and a video screening of The Lost Kingdom of Sarawak. A dance themed 1,000 Hands, 1,000 Hopes will also be performed. The public is invited to the Cebu Stadium, which is limited to a capacity of 800 for the celebration. People can also watch the celebration live via the UKAS Facebook page or on the big screen at Dataran Tuanku Haji Bujang in Cebu.
Now, a cook from Kanowit fell victim to a scam call and lost 14,000 ringgit. The scammer pretended as an officer from the Sarawak Inland Revenue Board, or LHDN, and informed him that the suspect's name is being listed for tax areas and conducting suspicious transactions of illegal money. The victim, who had no idea he was being scammed and had followed all of the instructions prompted by the scammer, revealing his account details in the process, in which he was told by the scammer it was needed for investigation purposes. The 51-year-old victim only realized he was scammed after checking the balance in his account, where a total of 14,369 ringgit has been transferred to an account without his knowledge. Kanowit District Police Chief Deputy Superintendent TENGAH Bilong, when contacted, has confirmed the case and said that investigations are currently ongoing. He advised the public to be wary and cautious when receiving a call from an unknown caller and to do a cross-check with the police if they suspect a suspicious call. The case has been handed over to the Commercial Crime Investigation Department in Kanowit, and investigations are being conducted under Section 420 of the Penal Code for fraud. A male Indian citizen who was reported missing 7 years ago was found alive and well in Cebu. This was confirmed by Assistant Commissioner Zulkifli Suhaili, Cebu's District Police Chief, who said that Sushil Singh, now 27 years old, is working as a laborer and is also married to a Sarawakian. Police were able to track Sushil from a tip by an anonymous informer. The last sighting of the Indian citizen was on June 3rd in 2015 at the Cebu airport, and police had been tracking him down ever since. The Cebu District Police Headquarters have also informed the Indian Embassy following the development of the missing persons case. Coming up right after the break, will event tourism become the savior for Sarawak's tourism industry, and South Korea's truckers return to work after an 8-day strike? Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Now, Sarawak's tourism sector is expected to see a boost with the return of several international events in the coming months. The Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Sarawak revealed that they have been planning event tourism while at the same time waiting to announce the dates strategically. This is added to by the reopening of borders in Sarawak and brings great hope and a chance to make some money after a lost season in 2020 for all involved. It was noted, though, that the coronavirus pandemic still hangs over the sector, making a complete return to normal still elusive.
According to Permanent Secretary of the Sarawak Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Hee Chang-ki, due to the need to overcome the periods of lockdowns and to keep the industry afloat, numerous initiatives have been made. Among them is the BKSS 6.0 Special Assistance for Licensed Tour Operators and the TVSTVMY campaign.
The business event sector, also we have a lot of homegrown events incentives. You can't go out, people cannot come in, but we have events, meetings going on within Sarawak. So those are the things that how we help the economic sector during the pandemic period, including capacity building, workshops, trainings and so on.
He said all these initiatives receive overwhelmingly good response from the public, stating that if TVSTVMY Sarawak campaign proved anything, it would be the importance of domestic tourists in reviving tourism. Meanwhile, with the reopening of the country's borders to international visitors, he strongly believed that the international arrivals would greatly increase in view of travelling being made easy without the hassle of quarantine for those who had completed their COVID-19 vaccination.
By end of last year, I think we still have only about 214 flights by November last year, which is still very much less than pre-pandemic flights frequency, which was about 600 plus. Right? So we gradually increase. Right? So as we open our border on the 1st of April that day, our flight frequencies have increased to 600 plus per week into Sarawak. That is very, very close. I would say 90% has recovered the frequencies compared to 2019.
In addition, he also noted that cultural, sustainable and responsible tourism is also on the rise among tourists.
The Sarawak Museum, upgrading of national parks, okay, and also upgrading of the ferry cave, wing caves, Nia and all this. So all these projects once completed, which is probably by end of last year or this year, is going to be another new tourism products. For example, the Borneo Cultures Museum. It was just opened on the 4th of March, and just a matter of 3 months, we have more than 100,000 visitors.
International events are slated to make its comeback this coming weeks. Among them is the Rainforest World Music Festival and much more.
So for example, in the month of June, coming June, after Gawai, we are going to have at least 4 international events. One is the Cebu International Dance Festival, and followed by the Spartan Race at Mongo. Then the weekend after Spartan Race is the world famous Rainforest World Musical Festival. And immediately the weekend after Rainforest will be the Borneo Jazz Festival in Miri.
Malaysia's natural rubber or NR production decreased by 20% to 22,498 tons in April 2022, compared with 28,106 tons in March. The Department of Statistics Malaysia, or DOSM, said in a statement the NR production eased by 2.2% year-on-year from 23,013 tons in April 2021.
Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the production of the commodity in April 2022 was mainly contributed by the smallholder sector, 88.1%, compared with the estate sector, 11.9%. Total stocks of NR in April 2022 decreased by 4.1% to 297,673 tons against 309,000 110,433 tons in March 2022. Meanwhile, Muhammad Uzair said exports of Malaysia's NR amounted to 58,755 tons in April 2022, an increase of 10.2% against 53,328 tons in March 2022. The exports performance was contributed by NR-based products such as gloves, tires, tubes, rubber threads and condoms. He said the gloves were the main exports of rubber-based products with a value of 2.2 billion ringgit in April 22, up to 8.6% from 2 billion ringgit recorded in March 2022. Muhammad Uzair said the bearish sentiments that hit the rubber market were affected by losses in the regional rubber future markets amid slowdown fears in China's stringent COVID-19 lockdowns, the persistent Russia-Ukraine conflict, ongoing global chip shortage and inflationary pressure, as elaborated in the Malaysian Rubber Board Digest published in April 2022.
The 42-year wait has finally come to an end as Malaysia have qualified on merit for the 2023 Asia Cup in an emotional atmosphere at the Bukit Jalil Stadium last night. The long-awaited success came after a thrilling match that saw the Malaysian Tigers beat Bangladesh 4-1 in the last match of Group E in the Asia Cup qualifications.
The victory was witnessed and celebrated by over 52,000 travelling spectators who gave their utmost in cheer and support, enabling the national team to obtain 6 points in total to finish second in Group E, where the top two teams of each group qualified for the 2023 Asia Cup. The Malayan Tigers started the match strong with an early shot by Muhammad Shafiq in the 6th minute, which almost put Malaysia in the lead. The 4 goals were scored by Muhammad Safawi Rashid, Dion Cools, Muhammad Shafiq Ahmad, and substitute Darren Lock. The 2023 Asia Cup will be hosted by China beginning June 16 to July 16, 2023.
Welcome back to the Nightline. Now, members of South Korea's truckers' union are headed back to the roads as an agreement was reached with the country's transport ministry earlier today, June 15th. This effectively ended a strike that caused major disruptions to domestic production and cargo transport, which was implemented 8 days prior.
국제교통부가 안전운임제 주무부처로서 안전운임제 지속과 품목 확대를 약속하면서 화물연대는 이제 현장으로 돌아갑니다.
The strike had been an early test of the new government of President Yoon Suk-yeol and had further stretched global supply chains already disrupted by China's COVID-19 curbs and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The ministry agreed to seek to extend the current rules on minimum wage guarantees and consider increasing fuel subsidies for truckers. The union said truckers would immediately return to work. An estimated $1.2 billion in damages was caused by the first 6 days of the strike, as reported by its Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy.
국회에서 일몰제 폐지 법안과 통과되고 제도의 범위가 전차종, 전품목 모든 화물 노동자로 확대될 때까지 화물연대는 현장에서 또 국회에서 투쟁을 멈추지 않을 것입니다.
Now on Tuesday, pop superstars BTS announced that they are taking a break as a group to work on solo projects, which left the BTS army around the globe heartbroken. Group member Jimin said that members of the band were having a tough time establishing their identity, calling it an exhausting process, while group leader RM said it did not provide the performers with time to mature. At a BTS-themed cafe in Manila, 19-year-old Michaela Balmaceda said she was sad when the news broke, but added that the artists deserve a break.
So if ever na magpapahinga sila or magsusolo sila, deserve po nila na magpahinga kasi mas marami na po silang binigay sa army eh. It's been 9 years na din. So deserve nila magpahinga and mag-focus sa sarili nila. Parang enjoy nila yung life nila na walang camera, na walang fans na gumugulo sa kanila, walang nagbabantay.
Umiiyak na sila, ni-interview sila. Medyo nalungkot ako, lalo na si Suga kasi bias ko siya. Sobrang naiyak ako noon kasi pero naiyak na natutuwa rin. Kasi 'di ba, may sa tagal-tagal ng panahon na magkakasama silang 7. Ang dami na silang na-achieve na lahat ng na-deserve nila ma-achieve. Ngayon parang deserve din naman nila na individual din na may pakita sa kanila na kahit hindi sila magkasamang 7, may kaya silang ibuga.
In Jakarta, fans were seen at an art exhibit featuring BTS members. Amel said her eyes were swollen from crying, but added members of the band would always have her support.
Sedih banget. Semalam sampai matanya sembab tahu. Kaget juga ya, biasa mereka sama-sama bertuju gitu, tiba-tiba ada kabar mengejutkan bagi kita gitu kan, bagi ARMY. Gitu sih. Ya kita sih tetap selalu mendukung mereka sih.
BTS made its debut in June 2013 and became a worldwide sensation with its upbeat hits and social campaigns aimed at empowering young people. The group had just released a new album on June 10th and met the US President Joe Biden at the White House in May to discuss hate crimes targeting Asians. Do you want to pursue your degree in Bachelor of Business Administration? If you're an aspiring student, well, we've got a treat just for you. Regal City College is collaborating with Tunku Abdul Rahman University College to offer discounts to students who want to pursue the aforementioned course. Tune in to Sejahtera Asia tomorrow with hosts Alexan and Jonathan for more details of this amazing offer for July's intake. 7:30 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and good night.